fun fact, both my brother and my sister are professional ballet dancers, and through some sort of miracle I get to see both of them perform over the next couple of weeks. The reason it's a miracle is because one lives in Germany, one lives in London, and I live in South Wales, so I don't get to see them dance very often, so this is going to be a really special couple of weeks. So I thought, what better way to celebrate this than with a reading vlog? So I consulted my trusty wish list and happily found 3 books all about ballet, which will fit perfectly for this reading vlog, so I treated myself. So let me tell you about the books. The first book is Astonish Me by Maggie Shipstead. Maggie Shipstead wrote Great Circle, which I loved. It was shortlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction 2 years ago, I think. And she has a really incredible way of writing really rich, complex characters. So I hope this will be really fantastic. It's about a retired ballet dancer whose son has decided to go into dance, and that evokes some complex emotions for her because it brings back the career that she left behind, but also she's got this kind of push-pull of wanting to support him with his ambitions too. So that sounds really wonderful, and I know that I'm in really safe hands with Maggie Shipstead. The next book that I have is They're Going to Love You by Meg Howrey. Now, Meg Howrey was a professional ballet dancer herself, so this should be really interesting. The blurb doesn't give too much away. It's one of those kind of like non-blurby blurbs. I think it's going to be a bit of a kind of complex family drama. It's about a character called Carlisle who's mentored by her dad's partner, I think, something to do with the AIDS crisis. A love affair creates a rift, and then years later she reveals a phone call which unravels the fateful events of her life, and it's described as gripping and gorgeously written with heartbreaking intensity. So that sounds really wonderful. And then the last book that I have, which I'm planning to read in this vlog, is Dances by Nicole Cuffy. This has been on my radar for a little while, so I'm really excited to have an excuse to get to it. And it's bloody massive. Look who's got massive books to take on holiday with her. That wasn't very smart, was it? This is described as a lyrical debut novel. A trailblazing black ballerina must reconcile her high-stakes career with obligations to those she loves most. So I'm sensing a bit of a theme in these books, perhaps around the opposing obligations of following your passions and your dreams, but also honouring your family or your friends or other commitments in your life. But I'll let you know how I get on with those 3. So the plan is I'm flying to Germany first. I'm going to be spending a few days in Dresden with my little sister. She's actually retiring from ballet this year, so this will be the last time that I get to see her dance. So it's kind of, yeah, kind of like a big deal. And next week I'm off to London to watch my little brother, who's not very little, dance at the Royal Albert Hall in Swan Lake. So I am really excited to take you along with me. You can see my packing in the background, and yeah, I'll keep you updated about how I get on with those books and show you what I'm up to. I really stupidly bought my sister this really lovely basket for the garden for her birthday, and now have to somehow get it to Germany, and it doesn't fit in my case. So that's my hand luggage. I haven't left yet. I am just here to give you a quick update. You can see my packing in the back, and you can see Brennan hiding behind my suitcase. But I just wanted to say that whilst I've been packing, I've started listening to Astonish Me by Maggie Shipstead. She's such a clever writer. It starts off with Joan, and she's got herself in a bit of a situation. She's a ballet dancer in New York City, and she finds herself pregnant, and the father is somebody that she's had an affair with, a Russian dancer who is now with somebody else in the ballet company. And so she's got to decide kind of what she's going to do, and she decides that she's going to end her ballet career, and she's just kind of like having her last few classes and coming to terms with that, telling a friend and deciding what she's going to do next. And then we kind of flip to a bit of future and a bit of past, and the thing that Maggie Shipstead does so expertly is like in the setup, you're like, okay, yeah, complex situation, okay, I can kind of see where this is going. But then with these kind of backstories and forward stories and other relationships that she's drawing into Joan's life, it's so layered with complexity. Like with every new kind of turn of events that you learn about, there's a kind of another layer peeled back and you're like, oh, what's in here? Oh, okay, interesting. She's such a great writer. Such a great writer. So I've stopped listening to it because I am about halfway through. I'm going to listen to or read the rest of it on my travels. I'm mostly packed. I'm leaving at stupid o'clock in the night to get to the airport for my flight, which is at 9:10 tomorrow morning. But I thought I should give you a quick update because the likelihood is by the time I arrive in Germany, I will have finished it, I hope. I will see you on the other side. Good morning from Germany. I arrived yesterday and had a bit of a letdown when I got to the airport because I really thought my sister was going to be on the other side of the gate. We'd timed it really perfectly, but not quite. So I walked through the gate and it was like, wah, wah. But she was only about 5 minutes later. She arrived. We went to her house last night, got to see her really beautiful garden, and we had dinner, which was really lovely. And I was like the Duracell bunny by the end of the night. My batteries were really run down. So came back here to the apartment where I'm staying because my sister's apartment is really tiny, so I can't stay there, but she's found this really gorgeous place for me to stay really close by, and so much nicer than I was expecting, so I'll show you around in a minute. But I wanted to say that I finished Astonish Me this morning. I finished the last couple of chapters literally this morning. I really enjoyed the book. Maggie Shipstead writes characters with such depth and complexity and just layers that on. I know I've talked about that already. It didn't have the same, I was expecting, in Great Circle. I'm not doing a very good job of describing this book right now because I'm rushing, so I might do that later. But let me show you around the apartment and we'll come back to Astonish Me when I can get my words together. So I'm in what's called a Hof in Germany, which is a set of kind of houses or buildings built around a courtyard on a farm. So I've got this lovely room with a kitchenette. It's got everything in it. My sister prepared a really cute basket of breakfasty stuff for me. And then through here is an enormous bathroom with a wardrobe in it, which actually is more handy than you might think. I've used this as a dressing room this morning. And then here is the farm. I've been watching the swallows buzzing about here this morning. You can see them there next to the white building on the right hand side. So lovely. Let's try this again. I finished Astonish Me by Maggie Shipstead. I finished it off this morning. I've listened to it and read bits in tandem. So we follow Joan, who has an affair with a relationship with a Russian dancer and becomes pregnant. And then we follow her throughout her life. So the time span of this book is like 1973 to 2002, something like that. So it's a long time. So essentially each chapter jumps forward a couple of years and you get a new insight into these characters' lives. So Joan doesn't stay with the Russian dancer. She returns to her hometown, starts a relationship with a childhood friend and becomes a dance teacher. She has a son who then becomes a dancer, a neighbour or his childhood friend essentially is also a dancer, and there's some complexities around their relationship and it all intertwines and gets really messy. So it's a real relationship drama essentially. Sorry, maybe you want to look at the book, hang on. It's a real relationship drama. I was expecting there to be a bit of a juicy twist in there towards the end like there was in Great Circle. That didn't happen in this, but maybe that wasn't appropriate. I thought that the resolution of the book was pretty well done actually, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought that she captured the world of ballet really well. I think she did a really good job of describing both the technical kind of dance moves and what it's like to be in a studio and what it's like to be backstage, but also a lot of the angst that comes with being a dancer and the complexities of relationships that occur. I've never been a dancer, but my brother and sister are, and I used to work in pastoral care with ballet dancers in training for many years. And so I've seen that behind the scenes look, and I thought Maggie Shipstead did a really good job of capturing that. My sister's just sent me a message that's pinged up on my phone. She's on her way to pick me up for the day now, so I'm going to leave it there. But Maggie Shipstead, Astonish Me, really enjoyed it. I went back and forth between a 3.75 and a 4, I think just because I was sort of disappointed with that lack of, a kind of really wow moment at the end, but I think that was just my expectation. It didn't take away from the book. The book was really good, so I settled on a 4. Today we're going into Dresden City. I'm going to hang out a little while this morning, so I've got Dances by Nicole Cuffy in my bag to start reading. My sister's going to class. Then I think we're going to the zoo this afternoon, amazing. And then I'm going to watch her dance this evening. So yeah, I'll take you along with me. I'll stop saying that because it's really annoying, isn't it? I've just dropped Rebecca off at work for a couple of hours and I've got some time to kill around Dresden, so I thought I'd show you around. This is where she works. This is my sister's office. It is the Semperoper in Dresden, so this is a beautiful theatre where all of the opera and ballet happens here. But it's on this really lovely square. No idea who this guy is, but behind it is the Zwinger gallery. In there is a painting that was made really famous in the 90s with the cherubs kind of sat looking, how do they sit, looking really fed up. It's the bottom of a famous painting. Don't remember who it's by. I'll insert it if I remember, but that's in this museum here. And then round this way down here is a palace, and around here, this is the cathedral in Dresden. This was famously bombed to absolute bits in the Second World War and has been lovingly restored. It's very beautiful. So I'm going to go for a wander by the river and into town, and I'll show you what Dresden's got to offer. really talk to you very much today, so I'd better say hello and check in. Had another really beautiful day yesterday. We went to Strawberry World. It's a theme park based entirely around strawberries, and it's the most wholesome thing you've ever seen in your life. Highlight of which was a ball pit made of dried sweet corn, which was lovely, really therapeutic, apart from the many screaming children. But yeah, it was really good fun. I bought a lot of strawberry merch to take back as gifts, but what's not to like? And then we spent yesterday afternoon just chilling at my sister's, really, and hanging out with her partner's daughter, who is a pocket rocket of a 3-year-old. We did lots of playing. We made a Wendy house, which you can colour in. So adorable. So yeah, had a really lovely busy day yesterday. I am a good chunk through Dances by Nicole Cuffy. The writing in this is so beautiful. You can tell that she's a dancer herself. Lots of the language is very technical, and actually there's a smidgen part of me that wonders if you weren't a dancer, whether that might be a bit, if you weren't a dancer, whether that might be a bit much. But her writing is really beautiful. There's been some really smashing metaphors in here. One where she was being interviewed by a journalist, and she felt like the journalist was kind of getting under her skin, and she described that, or likened that to the journalist finding the skin where there were no calluses, because dancers' feet are notoriously disgusting and covered in calluses because of where they're using their feet so much. So yeah, I mean, that's perhaps not a beautiful metaphor, but a really clever metaphor, and there's lots of that in here. Our main character, Celine, is a professional ballet dancer in New York City Ballet, and she's the only black ballet dancer there. She comes from a family where her mother didn't support her dance when she was younger, but her older brother did. Her older brother is an artist, but loses out on his scholarship to study art, and then goes down a bit of a path of drug taking and eventually goes missing, and there's no, she doesn't have much or any contact with her father, so she's kind of self-made as well, and this is kind of following kind of pinnacle of her career, her life with her dance partner. So yeah, there's an awful lot in here. There's a lot of stuff about dance, but there's a lot of stuff about Celine and her family, and essentially what this is really capturing so well is the cost of art, which is often really high. But I'll talk more about that perhaps when I finish. Today we're having a pretty quiet day. We're just chilling at my sister's place, maybe doing a bit of gardening, bit of reading, bit of pottering, and then I fly home tomorrow. It's gone super quick. But yeah, I'll maybe show you some stuff around the garden today, and I'll let you know how I get on with dances in the end. Good morning. I have finished Dances by Nicole Cuffy and thought this was spectacular. I absolutely loved this book. It's beautifully written. She includes so much rich imagery and metaphor, and not the fluffy stuff, but really, she really captures the pain of art, and especially the pain of ballet, and the sometimes violence of ballet and dance. I can remember when I first experienced that for myself. I was helping backstage, chaperoning a group of young people alongside professional dancers, and I watched a performance of Sleeping Beauty in the afternoon, and it's all beautiful, and their arms and they make it look so easy, and they're gliding about the stage. And then in the evening I chaperoned backstage, and as I watched these really elegant dancers just drift off stage as they got into the wings, they started to limp and were obviously in huge amounts of pain. They're taking shoes off to reveal like bloody toes, and you see this kind of other side of ballet, which is pain essentially. It's really fucking hard. So I thought Nicole Cuffy captured that contrast in this book really beautifully. It's a story of her rise to fame, essentially. She has grown up in a household where her mother doesn't support her ballet, and she's supported by her older brother, and her older brother supports her art. He's an artist himself, and he takes her to ballet classes and pays for them, but that eventually comes at a cost to himself too. We sort of fast forward and we see her in this year where she's in the corps de ballet in a really prestigious New York ballet company as the only black ballet dancer there. It's a year of her being given a soloist part and then rising to principal. And alongside all of this, at some point her brother disappears from her life, and that's essentially the sort of accompanying narrative thread to her dance career. It was really beautifully done. So you know, essentially as she takes on centre stage in her life and her career and is in the light and the focus on the stage, her brother sort of retreats to the wings, and we see echoes of him, but just little bits. I won't give any spoilers away and say any more. So really beautifully crafted. My only niggle, my only notes are that she includes quite a lot of sections of descriptions of dance just by saying what the movements are. So let me give you a couple of examples. So in this she's in a ballet class. Do this: arabesque, penché, promenade, attitude, prepare, sisson, pas de bourrée, pas de chat, piqué, 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 and chaîné to finish, yes? And then another, and fondue, and relevé, and second plié, passé, passé, retiré, and stay, stay, stay. I check my silhouette, etc. But I look the same, I think. Développé, and open relevé, extend, hold, 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 and back arabesque, and balance. So there's a lot of those, which I understand adds authenticity, but if you've no idea about ballet at all, those will just be words on a page. I've got a vague idea of what some of those movements are, so I can sort of picture what's happening, and that's very beautiful for me as a reader. There's a section at the very end where she dances impromptu in a garden with her ballet master, and it's, you know, stunning imagery, really beautiful to imagine. But yes, some of that could potentially be lost if you don't know what any of those movements actually mean. They're just, like I say, words on a page. That was just such a minor point. The story was really enthralling, the writing was beautiful, the way that she captured the beauty and the horror of ballet, I thought was absolutely exceptional. So this was a real hit. It is my last day today. We're literally heading to the airport. That's all I've got on today. So I'm heading home, and I'm very sad about it because I've had the most beautiful few days. I've had such a lovely time. It's been great. So I have They're Going to Love You to read on the plane on the way home, and over the next couple of days, and then I'm back in work tomorrow just for one day, and then Wednesday I'm heading to the Royal Albert Hall to see my brother dance. So yeah, wish me luck and safe travels, and I'll see you on the other side. My first flight was delayed, and so now it's going to be a sprint finish to see if I actually make my connecting flight. I'm currently waiting in the non-EU passport control queue, which is enormous. So I have 20 minutes to get through this enormous queue and see if I can make my flight. Not built for running. made it back home by the skin of my teeth. That was such a Home Alone moment yesterday. I went in through the airport to get my flight. Fuck the Tories and fuck Brexit is all I can say. Anyway, I'm in work for just one day today, and then off to London tomorrow. I'm halfway through They're Going to Love You. The start of the book felt a bit chaotic. I wasn't really into the writing style. It covers various different timelines, which I don't mind, but we were sort of getting 3 timeline perspectives, past, present, future, in one sentence. So I wasn't mad into that, but either I've settled into the writing or the author's writing style has settled down. I'm really enjoying it. There's a lot about belonging, and that's something that really speaks to me. So yeah, I think out of all 3 books I'm probably connecting with it the most. Yeah, so I'll keep you updated. I'll let you know how I get on in the end. It is now Saturday, and as you will have seen, disaster has struck. I have caught COVID. I'm absolutely gutted. It's the first time I've ever tested positive, and I'm feeling both rotten and very sorry for myself. So after the most incredible evening watching my little brother dance the lead part in Swan Lake at the Royal Albert Hall on Wednesday night, I woke up on Thursday feeling a bit grotty and was kind of beating myself up a little bit, thinking, oh come on Kerry, like, you know, you've only had a couple of late nights, like really, are you really feeling that washed out by like a busy few days? And took the dogs for a walk, came home, needed to get back into bed, was freezing, couldn't get warm. Tried to pull myself together, had a shower, was like, right, need to go to Tesco's, and I thought, well, just before I go out I'll just do a quick test just in case, and yeah, came back positive. So I had a big cry and yeah, that's been the last couple of days. So yeah, I'm feeling rotten. But anyway, let's recap where we've got to. In terms of reading, I finished They're Going to Love You by Meg Howrey. I adored this book in the end. It was exquisite. So Meg Howrey, interestingly, is the only one of our 3 authors who's an ex-professional ballet dancer. Maggie Shipstead, not a dancer. Nicole, Cuffy, a ballet dancer, but I don't believe has had a professional career in a ballet company, but Meg Howrey has. And interestingly, her main character isn't a ballet dancer. She is a choreographer. So we follow Carlisle. We follow her over 3 timelines, and we're basically presented with this situation where in the present day timeline, her father, who she's estranged from and hasn't spoken to in many years because of an incident that's happened, it's not a kind of like drifting apart, it's alluded to that something happened which led them to stop speaking. So present day, her father's dying, and so she's in this dilemma of, you know, well, do I go to him, like, do I ask forgiveness, like, what, you know, what do I do in this situation? We also get the past timeline, so from her growing up from about the age of 10 up until so that's her going through ballet training. She does do ballet training, goes to ballet schools, but she's too tall to get into a ballet company, so she goes into choreography instead. And then we've got this middle timeline, which is her when she's at 24, and that's what's leading up to and explaining the situation that results in her and her father not speaking anymore. Her parents separate when she's young, and her father remarries a man, and she has a really good relationship with her father's partner. Her father's quite strict and quite distant emotionally. Her mother is an ex-ballet dancer. She remarries and has a new family, and Carlisle doesn't feel like she really fits there anymore. And so a lot of the themes in this book are around her sense of belonging and identity, and where she fits in the world and where she fits in relation to her family members. And those were the themes that really resonated with me. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I stand by what I said about the start of the book. The first couple of chapters were a bit chaotic because we were kind of getting those three timelines all in one go, and it was a bit much, but we did settle down into, like, when we were in a certain timeline, we were there and present, and it all made sense. So aside from the very start, I thought this was chef's kiss, amazing, and a really touching read in the end. Interestingly, ballet was very much a backdrop. It was the legacy for her. So her mother, her father and her father's partner were all professional dancers, and she's in the dance world as a choreographer. But as I say, it very much forms the foundation and the backdrop. Really influences her in her life and those of the significant people in her lives, but the story is very much her and her relationships and how she relates to those others. It was stunning, absolutely stunning, and I would highly recommend it. So in the round, I've had a really good reading experience. I did have a bit of a word for myself when I started this vlog, thinking, oh my god, Kerry, do you really want to read 3 books about ballet back to back? That's a bit much. It's going to be a bit one note, but they haven't been. They really haven't been. Maggie Shipstead's book, I have to say, actually, on reflection, has sort of paled from memory a little bit now. I really enjoyed reading it at the time, and Maggie Shipstead's writing is phenomenal. And that was very much a sort of family saga, relationship saga. It's set in the dance scene really authentically. Dances by Nicole Cuffy I absolutely loved. It was really equal parts of plot that involved ballet and plot that didn't, that was about her family and the search for her missing brother. And then They're Going to Love You, which, like I said, less of the ballet, but that formed a really beautiful backdrop for what turned out to be a very emotional plot. So yeah, it's been a real treat. I've had a super reading experience. But more importantly than that, I had the most phenomenal week. I'm gonna get emotional thinking about it. Going to see my sister and spend time with her in her beautiful home with her beautiful family, and to see her dance on the stage for the last time before she retires from ballet was just so special. And then within days going to see my little brother dance at the Royal Albert Hall as the lead in Swan Lake. That's never going to happen again. I'm so glad that I've documented it all on this video. It was such a special few days. I had the most magical time, and I'm very sad that it is finished on such a bum note with COVID. but yeah, it's been fantastic. I've so enjoyed making this video, so if you've watched it, thanks so much for being here. I'm really, really grateful. If you are still here, do drop me an emoji that's something to do with get well soon, or a sneezing emoji, or a tissue, or a germ, or something to let me know that you've made it this far. And yeah, do like and subscribe if you'd like to see more bonkers reading vlogs from me, because I think that seems to be what I'm going to enjoy doing. So thanks so much for being here. I'm really grateful for you, and hopefully see you soon when I'm not quite so snotty.